Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Bootleg Tennessee and high school football weekly show where we talk high school football around Nashville area. I'm joined by Cane Ridge coach Eddie Woods. Coach, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, man. Good to see you again.
And more importantly, I'm just glad to see you guys playing football.
Yeah. We're excited for the kids as well, and it's been fun. Been a little slow, but it's been fun, to say the least.
Well, I mean, I got to ask you, you've played 3 games, you're 2-1. 2 of those 3, I believe, have been with no fans. All right?
Yes.
As a football coach, what is it like trying to coach a game with absolutely no fans? I guess you have cheerleaders, I think, and maybe a band, and that's it besides the media.
Well, we had cheerleaders. We've have not had our band either. But I mean, I think it's an option that you can't have them for whatever reason they didn't come. So we have not had them, but not too much different for me. I kind of tune them out a little bit anyway. I've been doing it for a little bit, not quite as long as some other guys. It was way better than me, but I'm kind of used to it, and it doesn't really bother me as much. But we'll love to see for the kids to see their parents, and I'm sure they've missed their parents and friends being there.
But Coach, I think in some football games, college games, and pro games, we've seen no crowds, and basketball games, we've seen no crowds. I mean, they pipe in the noise, I guess. They aren't doing that for high school, so it's pretty – everyone hears everything, I guess.
Yeah. Now, as a fan, I can tell you I see the difference between on the pro and college level. It's kind of weird. You can't replace a real stadium crowd like the 12th man at Texas A&M or Seattle Stadium. I don't care what you simulate. You cannot. You can't produce that type of noise. But it's been weird on the outside looking in as a fan for the pro and college stadiums. But for me, it doesn't bother me at all.
Players wise, does not having any fans, does that affect the players at all, you think?
Yeah, because when you're playing out there, just it's certain things they do to get each other hyped, get the crowd into it. You make a big play, you can hear the crowd get excited and things like that. So I'm sure it affects them. Being a former player, I couldn't imagine not playing with the fans. I'm pretty sure it does affect them some type of way, but they just keep on keeping on. We're just glad to have a season, and they're doing a good job with it.
Coach, like I said, you're 2-1. How long does it take you to really get in? Everyone had like a 7-week, a 6-7 week head start on y'all. To work out a lot of bugs and to figure out different things and to work on things that they find out during the season it's not working. How hard is it when you jump in 4 or 5 games later to get things going, and you need to know you are significantly behind the 8 ball there with having to be able to perform at a high level in region games right off the bat, where normally you get two maybe 3 games before you play your first region game.
Yeah, and not to mention get your scrimmages in the spring, which we didn't have as well in the summer and the spring. So there's a major difference. Certain kids, we try certain spots, we couldn't really find out what they can and can't do until we actually got in that situation. But playing Smyrna and dropping that game, we was very sloppy, made a lot of mistakes and had quite a few turnovers and things like that. And they look like a team that's been playing, not taking anything from them because they play well and they coach well their game as well. So, but you can tell a major difference. I think we're going to game 4 now. And I've been pretty rough on the kids and the coaches to let them know, hey, this game 4 and nobody cares about when you get to the playoffs, how many games. Once you hit about game 3, 4, 5, you should be kind of hitting the stride. So that's what we're hoping for.
And that was kind of my follow-up. I think by now it should be, the first couple games are out of the way. I'm sure you would have liked to have had another tune-up before playing region play. But, you got to feel like, hey, okay, what you have at this point, 4 games in. It's – you've kind of worked out everything. You know what to expect on defense, offense, special teams.
Yeah, we do. We expect the offense. Normally, the offense takes a little bit slower than the defense, but the defense has been a little bit behind the offense. Run and the speed of the game, and Smyrna kind of sped it up on us. And I didn't want to call a timeout because I said we need to be in this situation because we didn't get the scrimmages and things like that. So the offense, we got guys that's back that's used to kind of scoring the ball and things like that. But the defense is going to come along, and hopefully we can come to a meeting point starting this week.
Well, Coach, you play Hillsboro this week. They won their first game of the season this last week in a big blowout win over Glencliff. The game is at Hillwood. 7 o'clock kickoff, I believe, and it is on Friday, correct?
Yes, it is on Friday.
So Friday, and that is our game of the week. So we'll see everyone there. Hillsboro, it's a non-region game, so I guess this is one of the few things where maybe you can try some things, but yet it's a big. I guess it's somewhat. I would think there would be somewhat of a rivalry game there. And I mean, and let's be honest, it's two of the 4 top teams in Nashville metro schools. So I mean, we should all expect a really fantastic game there. But what is it about Hillsboro that makes them tick?
We kind of built the same as far as player for player. The speed, the athleticism. They got a legendary coach. They're gonna play that butt out for him, and hopefully my kids will for me. So we're just very similar. It's just that, but we're both in the same position. We're going to game 4, and it's really gonna come down to who made the best turnovers, who played the best on special teams, and who win the field position of the game. I really do, because we are built similar. So if you have too many bad breaks, then it can go against you on either side.
Coach, I think we've talked about this in the past, but just for our listeners, how did you keep? I mean, you guys waited so long to be able to get the green light to play. How did you keep them going all that time? Because I imagine at some point they're saying, "Why are we doing this? They're not going to let us play," and all that. How did you keep them going and keep them believing that at some point they're going to turn you guys loose and let you play?
Well, we just, I know it's cliche, but just control things you control. We just kept preaching that to them. But I really give testament to the kids, They kept faith in it. We work them pretty much year round. So they're used to working a long period of time before they play a contest anyway. I guess, building that type of program had them just in it for the long haul as far as when we're going to play. And, we're not playing now and we're still practicing. But the kids kind of kept it together. And I'm proud of them, man. And, say that they deserve to be at this point to be able to play, and I'm happy for them.
Coach, I mean, looking at I've seen a lot of your stats and stuff, and obviously, like most years, you got some special players out there. Your quarterback, Xavier Clemens, and Quentin Barnes. Coach, it seems like he's like a 6-year senior. It seems like he's played forever for you. And then Tyrod Good has just done great, and then Reggie Goodlow on offense. Just what that offense seems to be where you have a lot of options on offense.
Yeah, and you're talking about Reggie Goodlow and Malik Campbell, call them spot. Those are sophomores, and they're really, really good. But even they, kind of, immature how they run. It's not, you're not going to run everybody like you've been doing your whole life. So learn how to get those hard yards. And, I think they both had fumbles against Smyrna as well. So, but they're growing up fast, and they just added to Tyrod. Tyrod can do every single thing. It's nothing he cannot do. And, Quinn is playing some defense for us, too. And I know defense is excited about that. And, just try to get those and get the younger guys along with them. But that's what I knew our offense would probably catch a stride fast in our defense because of the guys. But, hopefully our defense will miss at the medium point this week.
Coach, speaking of the young people, you had a young defensive lineman get score for you. Freshman. Talk about that. And I think you said, hey, he's going to be a special kid. Talk about that play there for y'all.
Yeah. So I was actually, and I get on our older players, when the young guys get in, their job is to be in tune and help them, whatever they need help with as well. Because, those guys are nervous and the game kind of fast for him. But he just kind of read the screen and just kind of put his hands out there and ran. We knew he was a big athletic kid when he first showed up. We have quite a few. Honestly, this problem in this freshman class have the most linemen in one class that I've had since I've been here. And he's just one of the ones we're excited about. But he just read the screen or whatever they were trying to do, and he just picked it off. He just ran fast as he could. And I'm telling you that the big young fella, he can really run too.
It's Justin Lowry. And how many? You know about how many yards that was?
I think it was about 60, maybe.
Yeah, it was a big. I knew it was a long one. So
yeah.
Well, Coach, game of the week: Cane Ridge versus Hillsboro at Hillwood. Of course, fans, I'm sorry can't be there, but the game will be streamed live it's still on the YouTube channel. Is that correct?
It is, yes.
And it's the MNPS YouTube channel, folks. You can watch it live there. I think from what I've seen, the glimpses I've seen, they've done a pretty good job with the filming of these games.
They have done a great job at it. For what I hear, the parents don't complain too much about the stream, and they still complain about not being able to come. But
yeah.
And I probably would be the same way if I couldn't see my child play. But we are, with all things considered, the district and Dr. Bowers done a wonderful job at not only keeping us safe, but also providing alternative for our parents to be able to enjoy the game. We're excited about that, and we really appreciate that.
Coach, thank you for joining the show. We appreciate it, and we'll see you Friday night.
Okay, look forward to it.
All right. Thanks, guys. That's been Cane Ridge football coach Eddie Woods joining us on the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Coming up next, the Middle Tennessee High School sports writers from our group will be meeting, talking about the top 10 games for Week 9. Of course, this game will be the first topic we bring up. Coming up next on the Bootleg. Joined now with our team of high school sports writers from Middle Tennessee. Clockwise from the right, above me, Joe Spears is from the Daily News Journal. He covers MTSU and he covers preps for the Columbia Daily Herald. George Robinson of the Leaf Chronicle in Clarksville, and Cecil Joyce of the Daily News Journal. All right, guys, we're kind of pressed for some time. We're going to go right into it. Game of the week this week for Nashville is going to be Cane Ridge 2-1 versus Hillsboro 1-2. About as good as it gets as far as a Metro football game, as far as probably two of the top 3 teams from the Nashville area, or two of the top 4 at least, playing in this game. It's Eddie Woods versus Maurice Fitzgerald. As far as two really good coaches, it's Quentin Barnes and Tyrod Good, 2 great receivers at Cane Ridge. But Hillsboro is going to counter with Jalen Macon, and I think entering Game 4, hopefully both teams have kind of figured each other out. They figured their own teams out where they can really progress and play some great football. Obviously, they just missed Smyrna. Cane Ridge just missed being 3-0, losing to Smyrna. Hillsboro went into double overtime, to lose to Pearl Cone in the season opener, then got beat in a close game to Beach. So both teams have played well. They played great competition. Should be a great game. I'm going to give you my pick, then we'll work our way around. Cane Ridge 34, Hillsboro 28. I think both offenses are still in front of the defense. Cecil, what do you have?
I saw Cane Ridge 2 weeks ago, and this is about as explosive a Cane Ridge offense as I've seen in the last 3 or 4 years. They're going to score 40 points on people consistently this year. I'm going Cane Ridge 41, Hillsboro 23.
So I should bring a lot of paper.
A lot of paper.
Right. Okay. Joe Spears.
Outside of that Smyrna game, Cane Ridge has played really well this year, and then Hillsboro obviously played Pearl Cone well. They've suffered a couple of really narrow defeats to start the year. Cane Ridge just has too many pieces, though. I think they win at 42-31.
And Cecil, I think the only difference in that Smyrna game was special teams, wasn't it? Didn't Smyrna hit all their PATs?
Yeah, Cane Ridge missed every PAT and also had 16 penalties. They outgained Smyrna by 200 yards and lost the game. 500 yards of total offense for Cane Ridge.
Wow. So definitely, in other words, bring an extra pin as well.
Yes.
So, all right, George, what you got?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with both Cecil and Joe. I think Cane Ridge, like Cecil said, their offense is so good that Hillsboro is going to have a really tough time. As good as that Hillsboro team is, they had a close loss, in their last week. So, but I still think Cane Ridge pulls this one out. I'm gonna say Cane Ridge 30, Hillsboro 21.
Franklin at Brentwood. Franklin 3-4, 1-2. Brentwood 5-2, 2-0. And Brentwood's losses are to Brentwood Academy and Oakland. Oakland's number 1, and Brentwood Academy's number 2 in our mid-state poll. So two good losses if you're going to lose. And Franklin's played some people tough. Of course, you've got Kate Granzo, the quarterback at Brentwood, versus Connor Beacon, the quarterback at Franklin. Brentwood's got the skill players. They've got Walker Merrill going to UT, John House the fourth going to Vandy, the DB there. But then Franklin's got the size up front with Fisher Anderson and Jason Amsler, the key offensive lineman for Franklin, the Franklin Admirals. It's still kind of hard for me to remember to say Admirals over Rebels. But I say Brentwood gets this game if they inch one step closer to a potential Region 6 6A title. I'm going to say Brentwood 28, Franklin 17. Let's start with Joe. What you have?
Yeah, I mean, this Franklin team is a lot better, I think, than their 3-4 record. I mean, they've played PJP2 really tough. They played Riverdale pretty tough. Suffered a 21-point loss to Ravenwood, but I think this Brentwood team is really talented. Those 2 losses are, they're nothing to scoff at. Those are 2 really good teams they lost to, number 1 and number 2, like you said. I think Brentwood has a little too much. I think they win at 35-21.
George?
I almost had the exact same score as Joe. I think Brentwood's defense probably plays a tad bit better. They've won. Brentwood, I think, has won 4 of their last 5 games. If you throw in, I think a COVID, game in there as well. They got a dual threat quarterback that can run the ball as well. They get 2 rushing touchdowns. Last week, but I think Brentwood wins. I got them winning 35-13.
And Cecil, wrapping it up.
I think Franklin, as big as they are up front offensively, I think they're going to be able to move the ball, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop Brentwood. I'm going 27-20 Bruins.
Next game, if we had the old like Monday Night Football music, Oakland 7-0. 4-0 in Region 3-6A at Riverdale 6-1, 4-0. This is a game of the decade in Murfreesboro. Cecil Joyce, hype, is it as big as what I'm hyping it up?
It is. This is definitely the best Riverdale team in that stretch. Oakland obviously has dominated the region, dominated the county, dominated a lot of the state during that time. But this is as close as these 2 teams have been. Now, how close that is still the question. After beating Brentwood 37-0, I wonder if many teams are close at all to Oakland. But this is probably going to be as good a test as they'll get from Riverdale in a while. Limited fans is going to be tough because this probably would have been the biggest crowd this game has seen in a while as well. It's tough to say right now. Riverdale's playing well. Their only loss is to CPA. That's not a bad loss at all, and especially in a driving rainstorm as it was. It's going to be tough on Riverdale stopping Oakland speed up front, Oakland speed on the outside in their skill positions. I'm going to go Oakland winning this game. It's going to be a lot better than some people think. I think it's going to be 35-21.
Joe Spears.
Yeah, I mean, Oakland, this is a great game, but I think Oakland has really played, since giving up 24 points to Stewart's Creek, they've given up, I think, 14 total points, if that. I mean, they're playing really well, and then the offense really seems to be coming along as well. Jordan James is hard to stop. Just way too many weapons. I'm not sure Riverdale has enough offense to keep up with Oakland, even though their defense is great this year. I've got Oakland winning 31-17.
And George?
I'd have to say, no one, like Cecil said, no one's been close to Oakland this year. And, I know Riverdale's, really good this year. But I mean, really, you look at Oakland's schedule and who's been close to them. I mean, I guess what do you get, a 1-zip win if you get a COVID win? I think it was at Blackman. Like that might be the only team that's
Brentwood 1-0.
Yeah, right. That might be the only team that's come close to Oakland this year. I would defer to Cecil. He sees them all the time. So, but I think Oakland is going to dominate this game 42-10.
So you're basically saying COVID hasn't even been able to beat the Patriots yet.
The only close
hopefully it doesn't happen.
Right.
Knock on wood. So my research, and it could be wrong, I was doing a quick research, and Cecil could correct me probably. I don't believe Riverdale has won this game since 2012. Does that sound right?
That
Cecil?
does sound right.
So, I mean, Kevin Creasy has never lost this game. I got to be honest with you guys. I was this close from writing down Riverdale ahead of Oakland in this thing, and a little birdie, well, really, Cecil, you might know, a tall birdie kind of talked me off the ledge here and said, not so fast. I love Riverdale's front line. Their front 7 is as good as you're going to find, folks. They got size. They got athleticism up front. They got a lot of muscle there. I like that matchup. And to me, Cecil might disagree. To me, that's the matchup is, can that front 7 contain Antonio Patterson and Jordan James? If they can keep them together, from breaking long runs, this is going to be a very interesting game. But then you wonder at quarterback, who's going to be the quarterback? Is Holcomb out? Probably, maybe, possibly, yes. And that's probably the real reason why I'm going to probably pick Oakland to win this game, 27-14. I think this is a great game. I'm kind of rooting for an upset because at some point you need to see an upset in this game because Oakland has been so dominant in this. Obviously Riverdale under Gary Rankin had a long dominant streak as well. But even then, I think maybe they beat Oakland, beat them maybe. No. So maybe
Rankin's first year, Oakland beat them.
Okay, so maybe maybe
Oakland state championship run they beat them, so it wasn't a lot.
Yeah, there wasn't very many times, if at all. But anyway, I'm going Oakland 27, Riverdale 14. On to the next game. We're going to stay in Rutherford County. Ravenwood 4-4 at Smyrna 5-2. Folks, Ravenwood's 4-4 record. It might be the most. Ignore those 4 losses. Those four losses are to the number 1 team in the country in IMG. They are to Brentwood. They are to CPA. And they are to Pulaski Academy, the team that never punts, the onside kick, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the 4 losses. So remember that. Smyrna, I think you've got that Cane Ridge win over that feather in their cap. I like Jake Brenenstall. He's playing linebacker, he's playing tight end. Junior Colson at Ravenwood, the linebacker there, going to Michigan. Of course, Brenenstall's going to Clemson. Colson's been asked to play some offense as a running back, doing some special teams returns and stuff. I like Ravenwood in a close game. Because I do think the 4 losses are getting to them a little bit. I think Ravenwood 35, Smyrna 28. George.
You were almost spot on with me. I have Ravenwood winning 32-28. Like you said, you got to kind of have to throw out their 4 losses. I mean, Brentwood, IMG, Academy, CPA, like you said. I mean, those are that's a gauntlet to go through. So Ravenwood's certainly been tested already this year. I like Smyrna. Smyrna's been playing really well. I think they've won 3 straight. So, that's a team that, I wouldn't be surprised if Smyrna, pulled off the win. But I do like Ravenwood because they've just been battle tested already. So I like them winning 32-28.
Cecil.
I like Ravenwood as well. Smyrna is playing well. Their defense, although they gave up 500 yards to Cane Ridge, they were opportunistic. They were forcing penalties. They were getting turnovers. They got 3 turnovers that game. I think that's going to keep them in this game for a while. But I just think Ravenwood has too many weapons. I'm going 34-21.
And Joe Spears.
So in games Ravenwood's won this year, they've won by an average of 42-9. So when they're not playing those top tier teams, they're dominating people. And while I think Smyrna's playing well, I think Ravenwood's sick of losing, and I think they're going to take it out on the Bulldogs. I got them winning 45-24.
Listen to that. Pope John Paul II, 6-1, 2-1 in D2 West region, D2 AAA. They go to Memphis, where they play Memphis University School, who's 4-2, 0-2 in the region. Folks, I don't know who's going to play quarterback at JP2, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter. They're that dang good. I mean, Sawyer Watts, quarterback there, was a starter. He's a senior. He was really good to start with. He had an ankle injury, I believe, tying this game back into Rutherford County. I believe his grandfather is Phil Watts, the first football coach at Riverdale. That's his grandson, is Sawyer. But then he gets hurt. Kenny Minchie goes in against NBA, throws for over 300 yards. They beat NBA on a last-second field goal. That next week, which was last week, he gets offered by Tennessee. He's a sophomore quarterback, and he is that good, folks. So big decisions for Justin Geisinger. Who do you play at quarterback? Can a quarterback lose his spot if he's been hurt? I don't know. I think either one of them are interchangeable because they both had great starts to the season. That's a luxury that not many high schools have, and Justin Geisinger has two quality quarterbacks and a running back in Antoine Roberts going to Wisconsin. I picked JP2 to win this game 28-21. Cecil, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think Roberts is the X factor in this game, and JP2's dream season continues. I'm going 28-20.
Joe.
Yeah, this JP2 team, they're battle tested. They have 4 wins by 1 possession. I think they win this game 34-26.
And George.
Yeah, they've been JP2's been on a roll. They've gotten wins over NBA or Lipscomb, Smyrna. Those are really quality programs as well. I got them winning 38-17.
Mount Juliet 5-1 at Oak Ridge 4-3. Mount Juliet goes on the road, travels to East Tennessee. To me, it's a running back versus running back game. And Colin Baggett from Mount Juliet versus Kendall Jackson. Kendall's getting a lot of looks from Division I Power 5 teams. I think Oak Ridge has struggled, at times. I'm going Mount Juliet 35, Oak Ridge 28 in this game. And folks, we'll speed this up a little bit as we're pressed for time. George.
I have Mount Juliet winning this 28-10. I just think, Oak Ridge, they've lost 2 straight, but, they lost to Farragut and Knox West, and they've kind of feasted on a couple of lesser teams in Carnes and Clinton. But I do like Mount Juliet winning 28-10.
Cecil.
In Trey Perry we trust. I'm going Mount Juliet 24-21.
Trey will like that. Joe.
I think Mount Juliet bounces back from that loss to Rossview. I think they win 28-23.
Goodpasture 6-1, 2-1 in D2 AA Middle Region at CPA, 5-0, 1-0. Of course, they're the 3rd-ranked team in our mid-state poll, and they're also going to be ranked. I know they've been ranked in our Super 25 poll that will be coming out. You got Cooper Pennington and Brendan Jones at Goodpasture. Great quarterback receiver combo. Brendan's done a little bit of everything for this team. Plays all over the field. Tyler Turner has turned this program around in 1 year, but there's still some growth to go, and it's not a knock on Tyler. It's just CPA is the real deal this year. Ingle Martin's got something very special brewing. You got Langston Patterson and Tyler Reed at running back. Of course, Langston's also a really good linebacker. You've got Cade Law at quarterback. I like CPA 42-14 in this game. Just go to Joe Spears.
Yeah, CPA is rolling. I think Goodpasture's played well, but CPA is outscoring teams 156-62. Nobody's been able to touch them. I think they roll here at 38-16.
And George?
I think it's a little bit closer. I mean, I love Goodpasture, and I think kind of like you felt with Oakland and Riverdale, this would be one of the games where I would kind of feel like maybe there's an upset brewing. But I just think, CPA with the caliber of teams that they faced this year, they're probably a little bit too good. I do have them win at 38-35.
Close game. Wow.
Yeah.
And Cecil Joyce.
I love what Goodpasture's done this year, but CPA is one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the state in any division. I think they roll 38-14.
Bold statement there, Cecil, and I tend to agree with you right now. Here's a game I think we could have an upset alert. I don't know how much of an upset it is because both teams are playing really good football right now. Kings Academy 7-1 and 4-1 in Division II-A East. They travel to Nashville where they'll play DCA, who is 6-0, 4-0 under Paul Wade. Bradford Gaines, quarterback there. He's a legacy guy. His dad and uncles were legends at the old defunct DuPont High School. I like DCA to win this game 20-14, folks. I think this could be a coin flip game. George. DCA has some impressive wins. I mean, they've beaten, I think, Friendship Christian, Grace Baptist. They've beaten Summertown. I do like Kings Academy is a very good, program. I do think they'll win 35-17. And Cecil?
A lot of points in this game. The offenses will roll. I think it's 41-28 TKA.
And Joe?
I know our preps writer in Knoxville, Aaron Torres, is really high on TKA this year. I think they lose this game 24-21. DCA has just been really good this year.
The Bunny, Buddy the Bunny, folks.
Going against Buddy's pick.
Buddy the Bunny, I bet you picks Kings Academy to win this week. I'll bet you, you heard it here first. I'll bet you all money that Buddy the Bunny was going to pick TKA to win this game. Not us in Middle Tennessee, folks. Gallatin at Hendersonville. Gallatin 3-4. Hendersonville 3-3. Hendersonville. I think this is a great game, folks. This is a good rivalry game. This is the gold and yellow of Gallatin versus the black and the gold of Hendersonville. I mean, you got Brent Rowe, the Hendersonville running backs, got over 690 yards rushing, 11 TDs. Ellis best name in high school football in Middle Tennessee. Ellis, folks, got 4 picks this season. I think he's going to give Mason Stanley, the quarterback at Gallatin, fits. Stanley's thrown for 648 yards and about 5 touchdowns. He's also rushed for about 300 yards. I like Hendersonville to win this game. They're going to double them up, 42-21. Cecil.
I saw about 14 of these games in Sumner County, and one thing that always rang true, what you expected typically didn't happen. The team you thought was going to win a lot of times did not win that game. It's a toss-up every time. This year I'm going with Gallatin 20-17.
Wow. Look at this. Great pick. Joe Spears.
Yeah, Gallatin started off the year hot, but they've really fallen on some hard times, losing the 4 straight games they've played in. Hendersonville's played a brutal schedule. Oakland, Beach, Independence, all losses. But I think this will be a really good game. I think Hendersonville wins 27-24.
And then you look at Gallatin. I mean, they've scheduled Collierville and they scheduled Henry County. They lost those games there. I mean, that's a they. You know, of course, they got a big game with Beach coming up as well, and maybe next week, I believe.
I think so.
It's one of those many great games of next week. And George, I haven't forgot about you. What you got for this game?
I'm with Cecil. Me and Cecil are here right now. We're there. Gallatin, like Joe said, they started out 4-0, but then they've had a kind of a stop and start, to their season with a couple of COVID issues there with some opponents. But I like Gallatin to win this 28-20.
There you go, folks. We're split. We're split here, 50-50. Last game we will talk about. McCallie, 5-1, 2-1 in D2 AAA East. They traveled to Nashville playing maybe the hottest, outside of Brentwood Academy, maybe the hottest private school in D2 AAA at Father Ryan, 4-2, 2-1. 2 weeks ago they beat Innsworth. Last week they traveled to Baylor down to Chattanooga and won that game. DC Tabscott going to Appy State, been lights out. The big thing with him is he's only had 2 picks. That was been his last couple years. He's thrown his share of picks. He's toned that down this year. The run game's doing better. Brian Rector, he's finally got that season. If he can pull off this upset here, it would be a great for him and what he's doing for the Irish there. I'm going McCallie, though. I think McCallie may be the second best team in D2 AAA behind BA right now. I'm going to go McCallie 35, Father Ryan 28. George.
Did you just hype up Father Ryan and then hit him with the McCallie win? Was that what you just did?
I'm trying to hype them up so when they see I didn't pick them, they won't get too upset.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think McCallie's their only losses to Brentwood Academy. I mean, that's the #1 team in the state in their classification. I mean, they did put up 33 on a very good Baylor team. I mean, I like McCallie to beat Father Ryan pretty handily, 42-10.
Okay. And Cecil?
I think it's going to be a little closer. George and I aren't as close on this one. I'm going 27-21 McCallie.
What?
Well, you guys didn't get those scores texted back and forth quick enough. I know you've been texting scores the whole show. I know. And Joe, what you got?
McCallie's averaging close to 40 points per game. 3-point loss to BA. That's it. They've really dominated everybody else. Father Ryan's been good, but I don't think they win here. I think McCallie takes it 35-17.
All right, we'll see you on the field Friday night. We all got great games. We'll see you Friday night, and we'll be back next week to talk Week 10, folks. We're 2 weeks away from wrapping up this regular season. I want to thank everyone for joining the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. We'll see you next week.